Things are going great for Taiki. He's winning matches against people. He's seeing improvement. He's moving forward. Chinatsu's showing an interest in him, at least a little bit from what we can see. He's kind of oblivious to it, but they're hanging out. They're going to things while they're still at the school. Everything is absolutely wonderful. He got to see her in her maid costume. He's getting to see everything. You know, he's doing excellent, except something may have just fallen on him here at the end. He may have to take over. He may have to act. He may have to be the prince. This could be bad, you know? I still think I would like it if they just let like Kyo do it instead, because he literally has displayed to us that he understands the line through his conversation with Hina, but they won't probably, and we're going to have Taiki do it, and then we're going to have a big dramatic moment when, you know, Chinatsu has to see the chemistry that him and Hina basically have on screen, and on screen, no, they're in person, but we see it on screen, I guess. And then we have a whole dramatic kiss moment at the end that won't happen, but like maybe tries to pull some weird stuff, but I don't know. It could get weird, you know. Things could get bad here, could get very bad, but at the same time could be really entertaining and fun. So I'm going to hold out hope that we just have a lot of entertainment and fun throughout this episode and no heartbreak. But I just feel it's coming closer and closer. I think by the end of this play, Hina's going to have to unfortunately face the reality that she already knew, but get it directly told to her by Taiki. So might be something that has to happen very, very soon. So hopefully you enjoy. If you like it all, like and subscribe to the announcement, feel free to stick around for the discussion when it comes to the sort of series. Going with the 20th episode of Blue Ball. It'd be fun if they give us the stuff that she said, like from her perspective here. But they won't. Haters. Until they throw this at me. So dramatic. Take over. Get dressed. Right, what are you complaining about now? Great. Become a star. Exactly. That's what I've been saying. Oh, he disappeared. Huh.
みんなの練習を無駄にしないように引き受けてくれないかな。
I'll take advantage of him.
大変さがわかるんじゃん。
They also moved it up by 30 minutes on you, so you know how hard she's been working too. Don't let it all be for waste. I don't know any of this. It's all fun and games still. This isn't the drama that he's talking about. This whole thing might just flop. They both might just be like so flustered up there. Right, she's gonna be watching too. Well, listen, Hina's put in a lot of work. And if you care for her, you better try your ass off here. Right in the middle, all along. Oh, never mind, Karen's there. Oh, that's about to be bad. Never made himself popular in the school. Good for him. I would too, to be honest. Boost your ego more.
猪俣大輝くん王子役やるんだって。
大輝が王子役全然楽しみになってきたな。カメラの準備しとけよ。
Why did you say? I love that.
なんか怪我で代役とかって。
Ooh.
噂になってるのか。
She'd watching. There's a loud ass gonna gotta start saying some shit.
今朝ギリギリに完成して急いで吊るしたんです
Well, something's gonna happen with that. It's just gonna fall in the middle of the play.
続いての演目は
there's a reason it gets so much attention drawn to it, you know? But it just knock him out in the middle of it. Oh, let me place a prediction. It's gonna fall on Hina and he's gonna see it and he's gonna dive to try and protect her, and then he's gonna land on top of her and it's gonna be very, very weird for the audience and
本番でテンパらなければなんとか。
大輝と本当にしちゃったところ。
Right, this is where he's gonna get worked up though. It's gonna happen.
だからそういうことを考えるな俺。
Lock in, brother.
背筋伸ばさん。ちょっと緊張しすぎなんじゃない？諦めが悪いぞ。
諦めってお前は緊張しないのかよ。
私をどなた
She's
と
practiced for this.
蝶のひな様ぞ。
Right, right.
そうですか。
I love when she says that.
自分なりに責任持って練習もしてきたんですよ。だから
Gotta rely on that work you
今
did.
は親友として全力で力を貸してよ。大丈夫。中二の運動会より恥ずかしいことないから。
あれはそういう出し物で。
にしてもひどかった。
全員参加だったんだよ。それならひなだって中3の時。
あれは完璧だったでしょう。
お疲れ様で
No, I don't want you to sneak back in here.
そうか。
何の話してんの？
いやさ、あの二人って付き合ってんのかなって。
Might as
昔
well
から
be.
仲いいしさ。
ああ、友達だと思うけど。
Eh.
あれで
けど確かに異性の友達と恋人の違いって何なんだろうな。
There's some big ones. Yo, I hate to be that guy, but they could be the same thing, though. I get you.
なお白雪姫と言いました。
Look at our glow.
君こんなところで何してるんだ。
Stiff. Stiff as they come.
わかりやすく緊張してんな。
Yeah. Even the way he's moving.
けど頑張ってるのは伝わってくるわね。
Aw.
あれ、白雪姫って序盤に王子が出てくるようなシーンあったっけ？
結構アレンジしてるらしいよ。
I mean, they gotta cut it down.
元手の男と結ばれるのが納得いかないって言ったやつがいたらしくて。だから最初に王子と出会うシーンを追加して、その時人からのキスで目覚めるようにしたって。
But her mind's going crazy right now, wondering what's gonna happen.
知らない人からのキスで目覚めたくないし、ずっと思ってた人と結ばれるのっていいなぁ。あやめ逆に嫌かも。そういう長年の思いが美化されるのって少し重いっていうか、もっと軽く恋愛した方が楽しくない？
Hmm.
あやめは奔放だからみんなが真面目すぎなんだよ。
So she just be trying to have some fun.
さっきの話だけど、
Hmm.
まあほら、異性の友達と恋人の違いってやつ。
ああ、その話。
Oh, he could use this,
兄貴が言って
maybe.
たのを思い出したんだけど、
Maybe.
ズバリキスできるかどうかだって。
キス。
少し
The ultimate test.
お客さんに聞こえちゃうか。友情の一線を越えるかどうかは触れたいと思うかどうかなんだとさ。
その基準だと大輝は
何の話してんの？
耳
Ah, he's not even listening.
え、仲間外れ？
They said they had like plans for like a way to do it, right?
頼まれたんだ。親友としてって
out of cover so nobody could see. Hmm.
王子様
The expression might be a little easier there because of that.
どういう了見で？
あれもアレンジらしい。
I think Hina.
残すはエンディング。
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
ヒナ危ない。
Yeah. Yeah.
大丈夫ですか？怪我は？
申し訳ありません。一旦劇を中断いたします。
今さ、キスしてなかった？
気のせいじゃないの？
それより心配してあげなよ。キス玉当たったんだよ。
The only ones who know are the two of them. I'm assuming they didn't, but now it starts so many rumors and things. Chinatsu's going crazy too on the inside.
当たってないんだって。
Yeah.
紙吹雪でそう見えたかもしれないけど。
Through all the confetti.
止まってたから。
本当に？
Both
照れて
times.
ごまかしてるんじゃないの？結構噂になってたぞ。
It's gotta suck for her.
付き合ってるんじゃないかって。姫と王子。
Exactly. Everybody's wondering that now, and especially after what just happened when she knows that can't happen.
も会ってたし。見てた人は噂信じちゃうんじゃない？
確かにさっきのはキスしてるように見えたのかもしれないけど、茶化すようにそういう話されるの嫌だからやめてほしい。したくなる気持ちもわからなくないけど、俺が誰と付き合おうと関係ないだろ。
変な噂立っちゃって。
ヒナは悪くないだろ。むしろごめん。劇成功させられなくて。
そんなことないよ。セリフも思ったより覚えてたし。
Alright, you did what you had to do. It's not your fault somebody rigged that thing fucking bad and it fell.
してたし、声も出てたし。それに。この私に見劣りしてなかったぞ。褒め
Couldn't
て
say it was better than me.
じゃあ褒美に課題やってもらおうかな。
罰だらけでいいなら。
意味ねえじゃん。
けど、もし必要なら。キスしてないって千夏先輩に説明するから言ってね。やっぱり嫌でしょ、こんな勘違いされるの。大輝あんなに怒ってたしさ。フェアな戦いしたいから。
いや、あれはそこじゃないんだけど。
Yeah. He's never given a chance. Ugh. Nice reward, brother. Good for you.
そんながつかなくても
今日だけはいいだろう。みんなキスキスキスキスって。まず劇の
What about the rest? Yeah, yeah.
ピンチヒッターに
I worked hard.
あのくす玉は怪我してたらどうするんだ。
珍しく荒れてるな。
ヒナだって。俺が怒ってたのは千夏先輩についてたって思ってるし。
違うのか。
今のヒナとの関係って曖昧でどうすればいいのか慎重になることもあるから。
And it pushes it to a,
すごく嫌で。
you know,
それはヒナも同じだろうなって思ったから。まあ俺が勝手に怒ってるだけだけど。
一つ聞きたいんだけどさ、
please do.
生野さんのこと恋愛的に好きになってはいないの？
I
こ
don't
んなに
think
アプロー
so.
チされたらそうなっても無理ないと思うけど。
俺が好きなのは千夏先輩だよ。
そうだよな。 いや、大輝って千夏先輩 100% って感じだけど、そこに蝶野さんへの気持ちが3割くらい上乗せ
Maybe a little
あ
bit.
るんじゃないかと思って。あくまで俺が考える可能性の話だから。
Couldn't even begin to think about it. He's so locked in on one.
頭痛い。
どんな
Gotta
に言い
think
た
about
く
it, brother.
ちゃんと考えろよ。
You have to give her an answer.
子だよ、キスしたっていう子。ただいまをもちまして第53回英明祭を終了いたします。
What is she about to do? Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
パーセントコーヒー、3割のミルク。
What a perfect blend.
うまい。どっちへの気持ちも混在することはあり得るということか。
いや、そうじゃないだろう。
はあ、今日が変なこと言うから。
You
俺は
gotta think
千夏
about
先
it,
輩のこと
brother.
好きって。
Why are you here?
千夏先輩
You're just watching him and not saying anything.
おじいちゃんの手術が無事終わって明日からまた住まわせてもらうよ。
Nice. Damn, the month went by quick.
そういや、そろそろって言ってたな。
またお世話になります。
こちらこそ。千夏先輩も見てたんだよな。
You want to talk about it?
どんな風に思ったんだろう。
What a potential mess of an episode. As the ball dropped in many different ways here, we find ourselves in a interesting situation where Taiki and Hina are now presented in front of the school as potentially being more than just being friends, potentially being what lots of people already suspected to be, and potentially wondering if anything maybe that wasn't there before gets sparked directly from this kiss, or kiss that didn't happen. We don't know. They play it off in a way that the single piece of confetti, I think that it's more was so bad that all of them was kind of blocking it in a way that it was so quick too that nobody could really tell what ended up going down, which of course causes issues completely for Taiki and Hina for different reasons entirely, you know, with Taiki not liking the general idea of just being teased about something that actually isn't there, and in a way that is kind of annoying to himself, but also in protection of somebody else who doesn't feel that way and likely is annoyed for the sense of this is a guy that she wants to be in a relationship with and wants people to be like gossiping and talking about like this, but they're not. So it bothers her when that's the case. It also bothers her knowing that she's openly put herself out there and displayed that she is to him, and the fact that they still couldn't cross that barrier, across that line even here, even when she's openly tried to get him to at other points too, that likely caused this to just be something that's really hard on her, which is really unfortunate. You know, it's like everybody telling you that like you'd be good with the person that you really like. You guys would be a great couple. Yeah, but too bad he doesn't fucking like me. So like, what am I supposed to do? You know what I mean? Like, what do you do there? It's awful. It's a terrible thing to have to constantly listen to, I'd assume. Like it would suck. So you got to feel bad for her completely. But it kind of went as expected. You know, the overall, like, he just suddenly has to jump in and fill in a role last minute type of thing. The last episode isn't like really a surprise or huge shocker to come out of it. Same thing this episode, setting up the ball from the beginning isn't really a surprise in any sort of way of like likely what is to come. But that stuff doesn't really bother me at all. I think it's entertaining for what it does. And if it propels the story into something else that's more fun afterwards or more intriguing that I want to talk about and I want to watch more of, there's nothing for me to complain about. And I think we put ourselves in a really intriguing scenario that is the case, because they also gave him 2 opportunities at it that we know he didn't do the kiss the first time. And the second one leaves it up for the viewer to kind of wonder what happened. Well, I think it's likely to know that it didn't end up happening. It still is like, it's fun utilizing it to give him a second chance to let it happen and still end up coming through and failing. Because even on top of all these things that he now has to think about in the scenario that we're in, and Hina's also got on her mind, you also got to look at it from the perspective of Chinatsu, who probably feels a type of way that we don't know. She seemed completely like thrilled to be able to see Taiki on stage and that he was actually going to be performing. Her eyes lit up and she was glued to the stage the moment that he walked on. You know, she absolutely adored that. So the reaction to having to see this and now having to hear a rumor potentially of this person that you like, who you've already know that this other girl likes him, and then you suspect that he may potentially like her, and then you're sitting here in the background just like watching in the corner and thinking like, what the fuck am I? like where do I fit into this equation? Should I just back off because everybody's already assuming this and it might just get stuck in his head more or something? Like, it makes it more complex for her too. So it throws everything for a loop, which creates things harder. And then to top it off and make things even worse, we introduce fucking purple hair girl Ayame, I think they said her name is, and I already know the role that she's gonna play, if we're being real. Like the way they displayed it, I hope I'm wrong with what I'm gonna assume her role is gonna be within this, but just because like it'd be more fun that way. But it feels like they've displayed her already in a way that doesn't that doesn't go well for me here with what I'm thinking. So to lay that out, I guess my general idea for what I believe her role is gonna end up being is the way that they had her speak on the changes that Kyo had to make within the story to introduce the love to have like this other more like meaning and more like a stronger attachment and stuff to this character who's been introduced at other points already, as opposed to just having them show up at the end just in the middle and out of nowhere. She kind of views it as a negative and not a positive change that Kyo ends up seeing, and more so views it in a way that everybody else takes these things a little too serious. They think that there needs to be this proper buildup. They think that relationships need to be looked at a certain way, when in reality they should just be looked at as some people who enjoy spending their time together and just kind of want to mess around, whatever that entails, right? So for her, and for my own assumptions based on her also drawing a little bit of interest, especially when her friend ends up mentioning that was the kid who ended up kissing the girl or something, it causes her to stop, is, you know, these are things I'm interested in. This is the type of person I am. So if he's going out of his way and he's just doing this and maybe he's not even with her or something, shit, maybe I could fuck around with him if I wanted to too, you know? So I think she's going to insert herself, but not in the same sort of way that's like it's just getting messier where there's another person. I think she's more so going to insert herself into the scenario where it feels more like she might like want to utilize him as like her little friend with benefit situation, you know, just to mess around. We no strings attached type of thing. We can just be there and help each other out and do whatever makes us feel good just to do it, but we don't got to get too close or do anything. And I'm probably going too far into that, but I just feel like that's the general vibe I'm getting off of her. I do think we can display or utilize her in a complete different way though too, based off of like the little that we've been introduced to, which is just that maybe she can be utilized as somebody who doesn't see things in a same or similar sort of way as everybody else can, and she might be intrigued by Taiki's scenario, which then just causes her to get closer as a friend type of thing. But I don't know, because it also makes me interested. We presented the idea with the kisses being like the barrier to cross essentially, but we're potentially introducing this girl here who could be the person who tries to cross that barrier without even being friends. You know what I mean? Like we could utilize that, which would be really fun. Having somebody like, you know, who can't get like Taiki won't cross that barrier with because of their relationship and because of the way that he sees it, and then having somebody like Chinatsu who he would be willing to, but he can't just because they're not in that position yet. But then also having a third party involved who he doesn't have that first scenario of the friendship, and he can cross the barrier easily because of that, which is more so where I think that she comes from with a lot of this. So it would be really intriguing if they decide to go down that route a little bit, but I don't know. And there could be more reads completely on her and things that I'm not fully grasping or understanding when it comes to her. And I weirdly also feel like maybe there's a scenario that she's similar to like Kyo, where she doesn't like the direction that he's gone because she's gone the opposite direction almost, where he doesn't like when these dudes just kind of like swoop in and are able to like take people, and she doesn't either. So instead of like the slow build up and slow burn of these relationships, she instead just skips the line and like tries to get ahead on all of that stuff. So she's the type of person who like comes in and she basically took the same thing maybe that she potentially has like a past or a annoyance with like he does, and just flipped it a different way. So instead of just like being angry about that type of stuff and complaining the way that he does, and just like taking a step back, she took that step forward and just altered the way that she approached or viewed things. Could also just be like a little fun thing to do, a little refresher on where we're headed, and forcibly making brother have to get ready. Still against doing it, but of course the moment he comes in contact and ends up seeing Hina and remembering all the hard work and the effort and everything she put in to get them to the position that they're at here, it all comes to light. Everybody's worked hard. I know how hard she's worked. I don't want to make that go to waste completely. I'll do what I got to do to make that occur. The panicking, wondering what he's going to do, not wanting things to be awkward within it, knowing that Chinatsu's going to be able to watch. And I like how he takes note of what previously occurred, right? We were in a scenario where he got really like bothered by the fact that she may have thought that he was lying, which she kind of did. And he wants to clear that up immediately now, instead of waiting and making that maybe take longer. So he immediately lets her know, yo, I'm actually going to be in it. This thing came about. I like this group before, just kind of saying here. I think it's fun. Now, I wonder, too, when she ends up calling out the fact that he's going to be in it with their happiness and everything, and then wondering where it came from, and Nishida being the one who questions that. And we get these perspectives of this and seeing with Haru being in the shot as well. Like, if these are perspectives coming from Nishida, and he's questioning and wondering it, and maybe he's going to use his small brain that he's got to pick up on a little bit of things. So he might be the only one who doesn't like make these assumptions and see Taiki being with Hina, and instead kind of views it a different way. But he might not be relevant in any sort of way there. I don't know. This was a little all too obvious, of course, because throwing them on here, getting extended shots directly looking at that, you knew it was about to come. Taiki trying to pump everybody up for what we got going here. You got to lock in. And Hina trying to relieve a little bit of stress from him and let him know why she's not nervous, but why it still is a little different and how hard she's going to try. And they just relive some bad memories for maybe one of them, but the other one, absolutely love it. I love him sneaking in here. Last minute, of course, and everybody questions what their relationship is because of how close you are. What's the difference between a friend of the opposite sex and a lover? Well, Kyo, they later demonstrate the idea that a kiss could be the barrier that is utilized in a way, but more so, I think, different than how I would have like taken it. And more, what I mean by that is like, people won't do that because they don't want to cross that barrier to make things weird within the relationship. That's typically what it is. They don't want to ruin the friendship or the relationship that they already have by taking that step and coming forward and being honest with their feelings. But I think they mean more in this situation that it's utilized as something that you wouldn't be able to do that with somebody that you're not like interested in, which is like, that's a barrier that wouldn't be crossed because you don't have those romantic feelings essentially for that person, which is wrong completely in my opinion. But this isn't coming from like the higher up or something. It's just a dude saying what his brother ended up hearing, and to play a little bit into like what's to come, of course, with the kiss, but completely wrong in the sense that like, he sees, and this is where I think like his questioning and where the 30% and everything that he's talking about Hina comes in at the end, where he sees Hina as a girl. He sees her in that sort of way, which is what I've discussed openly for many of episodes now, and it's getting harder and harder to not see her in that way. She was concerned at the beginning of the series that he doesn't see me this way, and as we've continued, he's clearly seen her more, and the more pressure she puts, the more and more it becomes like that. But it doesn't necessarily mean he sees her in the sort of way of being like more than their situation that they're in. It's more of that thing where it's like, this is just a beautiful girl that's in front of me, and I admire every time that she like does or I see something, you know, like he can openly do that and understand that in his own head, and it gets harder for him to not see that and just to view her as that sort of friend. So crossing that barrier shouldn't be impossible. It should not be like a thing that's impossible to do because he sees her in a sort of way like that. The thing prohibiting him from crossing that barrier more so is knowing that he has feelings for Chinatsu and not wanting to ruin that entire situation by being getting anything going with Hina, right? That's the thing that's causing the main issue there, I think. So I think what he's trying to say, but I don't necessarily think it's correct. But I do think it can be correct for some people. But I think it's just wrong in the sense that like he does see Hina this way, and I don't think that he's holding himself back for the sense that he doesn't see them in that, and he only sees her as a friend. I think he's more so he sees somebody else in that way, and he's being cautious for how he approaches the scenarios. So it's a little bit more complex, I think, because I think if Chinatsu's not in the picture, even if he doesn't see her that way, I think he may jump on an opportunity or be more likely to jump on an opportunity as opposed to just holding back and restraining himself more. Taiki is so stiff throughout this performance, but he loosens up a little bit as things go. Look, she's thrilled. She's loving it. You can just tell. And then we meet Ayame, who is interesting. Idealizing that kind of long-term love is a little too intense. Isn't it more fun to love casually? Instead of worrying about something, instead of setting it up from the beginning, isn't it better to just have something thrown at you, to have a kiss thrown upon you that then causes you into a love? It doesn't have to even be a serious thing, as in like a relationship or anything like that, but could be used as something else entirely, right? Her then drawing and getting a little bit of interest towards a dude who just kissed this girl on stage randomly for fun too. It's a little bit more her speed. It kind of seems like it's the thing she's intrigued by. That's where I'm getting all my reads from, at least with where she's coming from. And they even say to her, right? Yeah, you're a little too free and wild, right? That's not something else they should be doing. But she's like, no, you guys are just a little too serious. Taiki doesn't overhear this, but Kyo at least gets a little bit into his mind. And I like the idea that he picks up more, because we do know there's more for like him that we have to figure out and develop him a little bit as a character, but also to push what he's going to be by being like the wingman and there for plot progression towards Taiki towards the end of the episode. We awake, we get to see the reaction, of course, that Hina ends up giving here when she finally awakens and sees her prince in front of her. I like adding the little bit of line that's in there too of her messing around and then being like, that was not, and it feels exactly like her too. And he's thrilled everything goes well until disaster strikes. He must jump on to protect her, and everyone thinks they see something that they likely ended up not. Sends everyone into a panic except Chinatsu, who doesn't know what the fuck to feel, probably. Like you getting teased a bunch, which sucks, of course. Of course, for her, right? You guys were in sync. People would have talked about that even without the incident, right? It's all these people starting rumors and these things, the feelings that she wishes that he would, reciprocate back, and he doesn't, and it causes issues for her because now she has to listen to everybody else wonder what's going on and with her in this situation, and it's more like public at this point than it should be. And of course it's a problem because she doesn't have that relationship. It's non-existent. He gets completely annoyed by it and he doesn't like it, and I think he does a good job of being able to just tell them straight up, right? This is something that comes from this. He doesn't have to just let it go on completely. He's able to put a stop to it. He says it's serious. He doesn't play around like it's a joke or something. It's not any of their business about that. And her immediately apologizing and being like, I'll make sure that I clear this up with Chinatsu. I'll make sure that everything's all good. I want this to be fair. I don't want to like get in the way and do anything. I know you don't want to get her the wrong idea. It's not even it. That wasn't even the point. And I wonder too, if it's just like it becomes even harder with everybody saying this and it becoming as public as it kind of is here to then come forward and be able to openly like express my actual feelings and the things that I need to say to you now that this is on the level that it kind of is, because then it brings more unnecessary drama of people wondering what's going on with you after you already kind of let her down, and then she has to constantly live in that moment of remembering and hearing that, and he also has to remember and hear that he has this thing coming up and he has to keep her on his mind a lot more than he necessarily wants to too. It just brings unnecessarily issues and problems that he doesn't want. And I love Kyo here, just bringing it forward and asking about where everything is, how he feels, and how he mentions that he doesn't feel a type of way 100% for Chinatsu. And he's like, I get it, but isn't there like a 30%, maybe just kind of in there? There's not a little bit of something hinted in there? And he immediately is like, that was an option. Like, I've been focused 100%. He's like, I didn't even think there could be more in there. I've been suppressing and denying all of that. He's like, what are you talking about? I'm really going to take some strong reflection. But letting him know, like, brother, you got to think about this. It's coming. Like, you're at a point you have to let her know. You can't keep this up. It's not good. Which is just absolutely true, right? It's such a problem. You can't keep just, stringing her along here. It's not what we're going to do. And he's tried a few other times, but she's really trying to push it and get away from the situation before he has an opportunity to force like him into more of like actually thinking about it, actually giving it consideration and reflecting on the way he feels towards her, as opposed to just saying, I feel this way towards Chinatsu, right? So she wants it to be prolonged a little bit, but now we're at the stage where it's as big as it is within the school and the environment they have to be in. It might be better to start coming to an end at this point, or things to positively go your way. But we kind of, if we're being honest, we know it's not going to end that way. That's the guy they said she kissed. Oh, I see. She looks on. Curious for her new role here. Chinatsu being here. I like him pouring the 50% of the 30% and realizing like, oh, they work really well together, but it's not how that goes. Why did he put it in my head? And her just being here because she's going to be moving back in. And then questioning, of course, like, how does she feel? What did she think? Like, didn't talk to her about any of that at all. Will he do it going forward? I hope he talks to her. I hope he asks her thoughts. I hope she asks anything that she's curious about. But I do feel like we're going to leave a few of those things a little bit out. So we'll see where that goes. I thought this episode was great and super fun. I hope you did as well. If you liked it, I'll hit the like and subscribe. Also, feel free to check out the channel and comments for this series. I'll be back. There's a 21 next week. It was a great one. Peace.